All right. So welcome to the class 2 of the Digital Deepak internship program. And before we get started with class 2, um, I would like to say that the class 1, assignment 1, had a very high completion rate. And I would like to congratulate everyone who has completed the assignments on time, and many of you got paid on time as well. I hope you like this positive pressure, because if you just learn a course and if you don't go ahead and actually do the assignment, then you are not going to learn it properly, right? So there is a positive pressure, and then there is a negative pressure. When you are in school, you have this punishment, but here the punishment is that you will not get the money back, and the positive pressure is that I know there is a carrot, right, which is the reward that you are going to get after you have completed the assignment. So the future assignments are going to get tougher, but you will also earn more, right? So before we get started with the class, focus on the class. Distraction is more harmful to the brain than drugs, so please switch off your mobile phone. Remember that there is a learn, do, teach system here. So when you teach, you understand things in a better way, right? So I would like to make sure that you guys also go ahead and teach other people on the group. And what we are going to do is that we are also going to create a program where you will be able to go ahead and do live webinars for the other people in the batch. And it could be about any topic of your liking. So we are giving you an opportunity to talk in front of an audience, and that way you are going to improve your communication skills. So Manish is saying my assignment is awaiting approval. I had submitted today. Guys, if you have submitted the assignment today, give us a few more days for approval, right? So how many of you are ready to go ahead and do a webinar in front of 100, 200 people within your batch, right? So we will do a small form for it, and within that form we will ask you to go ahead and fill that form, and ask you to do like a 2-minute video. And based on the 2-minute video, we will select shortlist people, and you guys will be able to go ahead and present in front of an audience. This is not compulsory. This is like just like an extra exercise for you to kind of end up learning the process of public speaking, and speaking on a webinar, right? So guys, try to increase your volume on your side. I'm trying to increase the volume on my side, but it keeps going down. It keeps getting auto adjusted. I don't know what to do about it. All right. So mistakes or future benefits, the value are which to be realized. So a lot of people are trying to be perfect with the entire thing. But when we have a deadline, you are going to go ahead and try to complete it on time. And I know that the entire thing will not feel very perfect. So how many of you felt that your article is not perfect? Type me in the chat box if you felt that the article is not perfect, right? Pretty much everybody feels the same. Nobody feels like, okay, my article was perfect. Somebody might have felt that, but many people would feel that it could be done better. But when you have to do something better, it's always about iteration. You do it more and more and more and more over time, and that's what is going to make it better, right? You can't expect that you will do it once and it will automatically become better. So that is something that is very important for you to remember. It's okay to make mistakes, and all the mistakes that you do are basically future benefits, right? So that is something you have to remember and something you have to keep in mind. All right, so going to the next slide. So marketing is about good conversations. So imagine how it feels if you're having a good conversation with a friend. That is how I feel when I do the sales pitch for a webinar. In a webinar, if I'm selling a product, I just feel like I'm having a good conversation with a bunch of people. So you have to remember that marketing is all about good conversations, and people have different definitions of marketing. So can you type in a definition of marketing that you think is what is marketing? So if I ask you what is marketing, what would you tell me? Go ahead and type it in the chat box. What is marketing, do you think? So marketing is selling, marketing is art of selling, uh, marketing is needs, marketing is convincing, marketing is persuasion, influencing, win-win, expressing. Marketing is a process. See, end of the day, marketing is all about the process of building trust, right? And that is why I say that with sales you are building trust with a single person, but with marketing you are building trust with a lot of people. So how do you build trust with a lot of people? You go ahead and have good conversations with people, right? So that's how the entire marketing works, and that's why I call it mass trust. By the way, guys, in the last webinar, when we did the first class for batch 3, I talked about mass trust, and a lot of people said that I liked the term. A lot of people were saying hashtag mass trust. So I went ahead and looked at masstrust.com. It was available for sale. I did a negotiation and I purchased the domain name for $1,350. It was almost 1 lakh, but I think it is worth it because it is kind of becoming like a defining term. So then I also thought that I will create something called the mass trust score, like cloud score. So thanks for batch 3 for kind of making me realize about the power of the term mass trust, right? So I think mass trust will become like my new niche. So digital marketing is one niche. My next niche is going to be personal branding. So when I am creating this information product about personal branding, I'm going to call it the mass trust blueprint. All right. So thanks a lot. So everybody is just going so excited on the chat box. So anyway, thanks a lot for that hashtag must trust, guys. So let's get back to the slide. So marketing is all about good conversations, and imagine that you are talking to a friend, and imagine that you are talking to a school friend. All right. So when you are talking to a school friend, what happens is that you are having a good conversation with a school friend. You are not really hiding anything with a school friend. You are just being genuine and authentic with a school friend. And what will happen is that you are going to have this good rapport with this friend because you kind of share a lot of things in common, and that way the trust factor within you and your school friend is going to be very high. So let's say you are starting a business, and when you are starting a business, let's say you are asking your friend to go ahead and buy something from you. You will usually end up trying to have a trust factor with your friend. Your friend will trust you very well, and that way if you are selling something to your friend, the first thing is the product market fit and targeting. If you are having a product that your friend will actually like, then you are going to go ahead and have a very easy time getting your friend to buy. As long as your friend needs that product, you are going to have a very easy time to sell it, right? So that way, basically, okay, so again I will try to increase my volume. All right, now is it better? All right. So if anybody has a solution for this in my Mac system, if I go into settings and if I adjust the volume, it's getting stable for a while, and then it automatically starts going down again. So let's say in Zoom, I have an output volume, I have a microphone volume, input volume. All right, so I'm removing the option for automatically adjust the microphone volume. So I removed that. So now I think my volume is good. I think it should be okay. Fantastic. So now we are all set. The audio will not be a problem again. All right. So the idea is that you have a good product market fit, and then you go ahead and build the trust with the audience. So to build the trust with the audience, one of the major factor to build that trust is that you need to have one-on-one conversations. So right now I am talking to 726 people right now. So there are 726 people live right now in the audience. And if you are listening to me, you might be feeling like I'm just talking to you as a friend. I am probably talking to you. This is the same way I will talk to you if you are sitting next to me in a living room and I am talking to you, right? I am talking to one single person, even though I have a lot of people that I'm talking to. So this is the same way I write articles on my blog. This is the same way that I do webinars. This is the same way that I write emails. So type 1:1 if you feel like that I am talking, having one-on-one conversations, right? Fantastic. So that is one of the core factors in building mass trust. So you also need to be authentic to communicate better, right? So people are tired of fake people with social personas, and everyone is attracted to someone real. So if I go ahead and put myself in a vulnerable position where I'm telling you guys, this is who I am, and do you feel that I'm authentic in my communication? Do you feel like I'm just being myself? A lot of people are going to put up a social persona. Like, let's say if you are going to a family function and you are looking at one auntie who is wearing a lot of jewels and a very 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 fancy sari. Do you think she is authentic? She's not authentic, right? She's trying to create a perception or an image, and they talk in a certain way. People show off, and you can also see men. You can see these people who are like having a very big Fortuner car, and they are like wearing a sunglass, and then they're also showing off. Come on, guys. I'm not saying that only women show off, men also show off. And this guy is like wearing a sunglass, having like a big SUV, and then he is like walking in one style, trying to think that, hey, everybody is looking at him. All this, this is not looking actually nice. It's okay to have swag. I'm also having some swag, but in my own way. I go and you know uh, probably buy masstrust.com to show my own swag. But there are other people who show swag in a very artificial way. So basically what these people are doing is that they are putting one mask in front of them. They are not authentic, and they are not courageous enough to go ahead and show who they truly are. And there is nothing wrong to own a Fortuner, guys, don't take me wrong. I'm just trying to kind of give you a perspective. There are authentic people owning Fortuner cars as well. So I'm just trying to give you an example. I hope you take it in a light sense. I hope nobody here is owning a Fortuner, or nobody's family is owning a Fortuner. So cool. Eventually we will end up making so much money that we will not buy Fortuners and all. We will straight away buy Mercedes Benz or BMWs. That is the confidence that you should have. Anyway, so getting back to the point, the idea is that there are people who put up a mask and they run around in the world, and then there are people who are authentic. And having authenticity is also very important in finding the life partner, right? If you want to find the right life partner, if you want to find the right friends, you need to walk around in the world being authentic to yourself, which means that also accepting your flaws, also accepting the negative side of life, and being okay with it. So first you need to accept it yourself, and then you need to go ahead and try to tell that, hey, this is how I am. I'm not perfect. I have rough edges myself. And if you go ahead and openly, explicitly admit that, then people will feel a connection with you. So be authentic. So whenever authentic people will get attracted to other authentic people. If you are, you feel very close with your friends who are like college friends, because you are generally authentic to each other. You know that how much of an idiot your college friend is. Then you feel a good connection with them. So if you want to build a very good connection with a lot of people, which is build trust with a lot of people, then you need to show your authentic self. So this is where a lot of politicians make mistakes. A lot of celebrities also make mistakes, right? So how many of you like Karan Johar? Okay. Okay, not a lot of people like Karan Johar. Okay, so how many of you Can you go ahead and tell me about an authentic celebrity that you like? Okay, Irfan Khan. All right, so let's talk about Irfan Khan. Also pay a tribute to the amazing movies that he has made. So, how many of you go love Irfan Khan? You love Irfan Khan, right? You feel Irfan Khan is authentic type. Yes, if you feel that Irfan Khan is authentic, an amazing authentic actor, and people have the whole of India was so sad that he passed away because Irfan Khan has an authenticity about him, right? Yes, he's a great actor. Abdul Kalam, right? Abdul Kalam has an authenticity about him. He is not trying to post something as he is not. All right. So how many of you are fans of Salman Khan? How many of you think that he's a great authentic guy? All right. So fans of Salman Khan, don't take it wrong, but looks like a lot of people are saying no. They're not fans of Salman Khan. So compare, I'm like, I like all the artists, guys. I'm not trying to, degrade anyone. But I'm just, a lot of Salman Khan's fans are there. I also like Salman Khan films, but I'm just trying to, compare, right? There are certain people who like everybody likes a person like Ratan Tata. Everybody likes Ratan Tata. Azim Premji. Everybody likes Azim Premji. And Rajinikanth also, right? Everybody likes Rajinikanth because they show their true self. They go ahead and tell that, hey, this is how I am, and this is my life. I'm not perfect, but then there are other actors and actresses who try to always put up a they try to always put up a scene. They have a lot of Instagram followers, but they are fake. You feel that they are fake, right? So those fake people never end up building mass trust, right? So that's what happens with trying to be authentic. And if you have to be authentic, then you need to look at, hey, what is your all right. So Surabhi is taking, hey, I'm talking only about men. Sorry for that. I just can't suddenly think about female actresses names. But anyway, don't worry about it. I'm just giving you examples here. So can you give me some example of fake female actresses? All right. So I see Raki. I see Raki. I see. I don't think Priyanka Chopra is fake. Priyanka Chopra is authentic. I think Aishwarya Rai is also on some level authentic. A lot of people are saying Raki Seventh. Dinchak Puja. Somebody think Dinchak Puja. All right. Okay. So Neha Dupia. A lot of people are saying Neha Dupia. So Kareena Kapoor. I don't know about Kareena Kapoor. But tell me a few examples of authentic female actresses. Who are authentic? Who do you feel really connected to? Deepika Padukone. I see Alia Bhatt. See, Alia Bhatt, I think, definitely has some authenticity to her. She was first having this brand that she's not very intelligent, and then she kind of accepted that, hey, I'm not so intelligent. It's fine. That kind of gives you a connection with her, right? And you see Tapsi Pannu. I think a lot of people are saying Tapsi Pannu, Vidya Balan, Preeti Zinta. All right, so people are really getting excited now that I am talking about movies and cinema. All right, Anushka. All right, so you got the idea, guys. You got the idea, right? You got what is the entire idea with the whole authenticity, deal with the authenticity thing. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next step. So you need to kind of become a little bit more authentic. So I wrote a blog about how to become a great public speaker. How many of you have read that article about how to become a great public speaker on my blog? All right, so a lot of people are saying no. So I will go ahead and share that link to that article with you. So I'm sharing the link to that article on the chat box. You go ahead and bookmark it. I just switched off the chat for a while. Please go ahead and bookmark it. So that again talks about authenticity and how you have to be authentic outside in the real world. So thank you, Tripti, for saying it's the best article. Thank you, Raj Kishan. Fantastic. So go ahead and read that article. It talks about how you can become an authentic person, and that kind of increases liking with your audience, and that's one of the ways you can build mass trust. And come on, guys, when we think about digital marketing, it's all about mass communication, right? So who is a better marketer? People with more life experiences are better marketers. So in general, if you want to become an engineer, you need a lot of experience in engineering. If you want to become a very good lawyer, you need a lot of experience in becoming a lawyer, being a lawyer, practicing law. If you want to become a good doctor, then you need to have a lot of experience in being a doctor. But being a better marketer does not mean that you need to have a lot of experience in marketing things. Being a marketer is about connecting different things. When you are writing a sales copy, you are going to kind of pull in different angles, different experiences, and basically you are trying to connect with your audience, which is very important, right? So people with more life experiences are better marketers. So you go ahead and travel a lot, learn new languages, do new things all the time. Go ahead and have more relationships with people. Maybe if you are single, have more girlfriends. Don't just stick to one girlfriend. Basically a lot of people are like saying lol 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 lol. Anyway, take it in a light way. As long as your girl knows that she's not your only girlfriend, it's gonna be okay. So all right. So don't take it too seriously, guys. Don't go ahead and have multiple girlfriends and then get beaten up your primary girlfriend, right? So, so yeah. By the way, a lot of people are saying that I'm in a good mood today. I think so. Somebody is saying mass girlfriends. All right. So I think that is the hashtag for today. Hashtag mass girlfriends. All right, so girls here in this group, don't take me wrong. Just joking out here. I am like a one woman person. I just like to have one relationship at a time. So don't take relationship advice from me. Um, I went through my own phase of relationships. I had a divorce when I was 31. I was in a 7-year relationship, and then I became single again, and then I started having multiple girlfriends for a while. So all these things happen. So who is a better marketer? People with more life experiences are better marketers. Meet more people, go ahead and travel new places, learn new skills. So when you do all this, you kind of naturally become a better marketer. So I have traveled to 8 different countries so far. I have had a lot of different life experiences. I have done biking. I have tried learning guitar, didn't really become very good at it. I have started learning piano. I started learning Chinese. So I have not taken each and everything to a really big extent, but I have done a little bit of everything. So when you do a little bit of everything, also the kind of content that you consume, try to have different kinds of reading. Go ahead and read about spirituality, go ahead and read about feminism. Like for example, if you are against feminism, go ahead and read about feminism. If you are against a certain religion, go ahead and read about that religion. That will kind of challenge your assumptions. Be comfortable for people to challenge your beliefs. Don't hold very strong opinions. Be flexible to it. Like I generally have a lot of opinions about a lot of things, but if somebody is able to convince me on something, hey, like for example, for a long time I believed that cycling was not really a good sport, or running was not really a good thing. But then when someone told me about it, I was able to kind of get convinced, right? So this is like a deep thing, right? For example, if you are holding a strong opinion about, hey, this is how things have to be, try to go ahead and put yourself in a different shoe. Like for example, let's say that you are holding strong opinion about a certain religion. Try to see if you can challenge those assumptions about a certain religion, and try to see how flexible you are. Trying to be open minded
and trying to be a little bit flexible is going to give you a lot of flexibility as a marketer, because being a marketer is always about flexing those muscles and being a little bit malleable to those opinions, right? So for example, let's say you don't like a particular political party. For a moment, go ahead and try to see if you can see some positive things in that particular party, right? I know it feels very uncomfortable because you are having a very strong opinion about something. Then you are not able to change it. So try if you can change it, just as an exercise. A lot of people have a lot of strong opinions, about certain things, and about certain practices, for example, I used to okay, I'm not going to tell all my beliefs here, then you will judge me. So anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next session. All right. So see, guys, don't think that I am trying to talk about life and metaphysical stuff and all this. This is all very basic for marketing. If you are just looking for techniques, then you can just buy my courses, right? I hope you are okay me talking about all this deep stuff. All right. Just type deep in the chat box if you are liking this kind of session. All right. So let's go deep, right? That's what Deepak does. Deepak goes deep. All right. So now we talked about you. Now we talked about you. Now we talked about ourselves as marketers. And now let's talk about who is your audience, right? If everyone is your audience, then nobody is your audience, right? If you are trying to target everyone, then nobody is going to respond. So I would like to give you an example. As a marketer, you are trying to have conversation with people. You are trying to converse with people, and as a marketer, you are trying to converse with a lot of people. So it's a natural tendency to think that you need to go ahead and target as many people as you can and talk to as many people as possible. But if you are trying to talk to everyone, then nobody is going to respond. And I will tell you a small example for this. So let's say you are in a bus stand. Let's say you are in a railway station, and let's say hundreds of people are walking past you, and you are just standing there. If you go ahead and call, hey everybody, do you think people are going to respond? Do you think people are going to respond? All right. So if you just say hey everybody, people are not going to respond, right? So if you are going to call, hey, is there anybody called Deepak here? Deepak will respond, right? It might become too specific. There might be people who are with the name Deepak, and he will respond. So if you're calling, hey, is there any doctor here? Do you think all the doctors are going to respond? If hey, somebody is calling a doctor, right? Not everybody will respond. Somebody will ignore you, but at least you will have a better response than calling hey everybody. If you just hey doctors, please help me, or hey doctor, is there anyone here? Then people will respond, right? So that is where the targeting comes from. If you get your targeting right, and if you are targeting to people, uh, very targeted level, then people are going to respond, right? So that's what building a customer avatar is all about. So if you define your target audience, if you define the demographics and psychographics, then you are going to have a better response. But you might also say, what if people are lying outside that circle? There are going to be people who lie outside that circle, and they are not going to respond to you very well, but they are still going to respond, right? So I will show you a live exercise here. So we will get to that. So when you get your audience target right, like for example, I have my target audience very defined. You might think that all the different types of people are joining my internship program. Yes, there are a lot of different types of people joining my internship program, but I'm just talking to one particular persona. All right, I'm talking to only one specific kind of person. So when I write email, I only write to one single customer at a time. I have one specific person in mind, and I am writing to that person as if I am writing a personal letter to them. But I'm sending it to 300,000 different people. So all the 300,000 different people feel like I am writing a letter directly to them. So though you have a big audience, everyone is alone with their device. So so here in the webinar, we might be together, but every person is here um, in their house with the system alone, right? Nobody is there sitting like 4 or 5 people watching like TV, or sitting like an auditorium watching sports. That might happen when you are at a offline workshop or an offline event. But now during times of social distancing, everybody is alone sitting at their home, which means that even though here I am talking to 737 people right now, everybody is at their home alone listening from me. And it would be the same experience if I just had a phone call with you and I called you and I talked to you, right? So that is how you have to have the conversation. That is how you have to write. And when you look at writing for school, academic writing is very different. You have sophisticated language. You try to bring as much complex words as possible. So everybody in our school, we had this one intellectual guy or girl who had a lot of vocabulary, and all of us used to hate them, right? I mean, like, they would always show off that, hey, do you know what the meaning of this word is, right? It feels like pretty irritating. And I know those people will never be good marketers. They will be good at English, and their English teacher will give them good marks, but they are the first benchers people, right? So don't worry if you are actually the kind of person who had a large vocabulary. I also have a large vocabulary, but I'm saying that having a vocabulary and having complex language is not what marketing communication is about. Marketing communication is about having simple language. Guys who are like for example, Donald Trump, right? People say that Donald Trump communicates at fourth grade English. He communicates in as simple English as possible, and that is why he was able to convert a lot of people, even though it kind of was not a good decision for America. Donald Trump was able to convince a lot of people to vote for him because he spoke in fourth grade English. And he is the best marketer of all time, right? There are people who would talk complicated English and people cannot connect to it. So one of the best ways to be a good marketer is to talk like Donald Trump. Talk in very simple language, talk repetitive stuff. Don't be like an idiot like him, but you can still be have good content. At the same time, try to be very, very simple in your communication. So I will not name any Indian politicians here because I'm in India. I don't want to get banned or something like that from selling online training. So I'm just taking the safer route here, which is talk about Donald Trump, because everybody in US, pretty much the whole world, talks about Donald Trump. So again, one more point to remember is that join mental conversations that people are already having in their mind. So when I am talking to you as a marketer, I am not trying to start a new conversation. I am trying to start a conversation you are already having in your mind. So if you look at my email subject lines, I am asking you, do you want to become a good public speaker? Question mark. So you are already having this conversation in your mind that, hey, yes, I want to become a good public speaker. And then when I say, hey, do you want to become a good public speaker? Then I'm joining a conversation that you are already having in your mind. And that's when I connect with you, right? Instead of saying that, hey, do you know about quantum mechanics? And do you know how law of large numbers works? You will be like, hey, what is this guy talking about, right? By the way, do you know about law of large numbers, guys? Have you heard about law of large numbers? Bernoulli's theorem? All right. Do you want me to tell you about law of large numbers? It is a little bit deviating from this topic, but it's a very interesting concept. Like, most of the people are saying yes, a few people are saying no. People who are saying no, just give me 2 minutes so that I can just interest people in an intellectual conversation. So law of large numbers basically means that, see, this is very important for marketing, all right? Law of large numbers is very important for marketing. So law of large numbers basically means that you can predict the outcome of random events for a reasonable accuracy when you have large numbers which are included, all right? So which means that if let's say there is a coin toss. A coin toss is a random event, right? You might either get heads or you might either get tails. So if you are just tossing the coin one time, if you are just tossing the coin one time, then I cannot predict whether you are going to get heads or whether you are going to get tails, right? But if you toss the coin 10 times, then at least 2 times it might be heads and 7 times it might be tails. So it's called regression towards the mean. The more events that you have, the more numbers you have, the probability of either this or that kind of becomes close to 50%, right? So if there is a probability which is either this or that, which is head or tails, if you toss the coin, like let's say 1,000 times, then heads will be very near to 500 and tails will be very near to 500, right? So this is some max, because predictive analytics and law of large numbers is something that we do in digital marketing. So a person buying a course or not is a random event, like a coin toss. If I send a single person to my landing page, he might buy the course or he might not buy the course. However, if I send 100 people to my landing page, let's say the landing page conversion expected is 10%. If I send 100 people to my landing page, maybe 7 will buy, maybe 13 will buy. I don't know. But if I send 1,000 people to the landing page, maybe 90 will buy or maybe 110 will buy. However, if I send 10,000 people to the landing page, there is a very high chance that almost nearly 1,000 people will buy. So I can predict the amount of people who will convert, which is giving me confidence on going ahead and investing money in marketing. So I have written an article about it called digital Deepak. Let me just search for it. So I will just share that article on the chat box. It's called Law of Large Numbers. And I have written about what Crime Rate in New York can teach us about predictive web analytics. So this is basically predicting the future. You are basically predicting the future because there are large numbers involved. And I have just shared the link to the chat box. In the chat box, you go and bookmark it. And so let me give you a very, very natural example from nature itself. So if a couple is having kids, so how many of the people are having kids here right now? All right, so a lot of people are having kids. So the probability of either having a boy or a girl is 50-50%, right? And it's an extremely random event. If you're actually having a kid, it might be a boy or it might be a girl, right? There is no 50-50 in it. I mean, like very rarely 50-50 happens, but I hope it doesn't happen to any of us. The idea is that it's either a boy or either a kid, right? But nature, when nature designed it, nature kind of brought in the law of large numbers into place, right? So nature wanted that when nature is creating a large number of boys and girls, what happens is that nature wants 50% boys and 50% girls, and it wants it to be as close as possible to 50%, as much as possible. So that's where the law of large numbers come in. I think I don't need to kind of explicitly explain what I am trying to tell here, right? There is a large number in one side and there is a single number on the other side, and then the probability becomes 50-50%. There is millions here, and then millions of probable occurrences that it can either be this or either be that, right? All right, Dheeraj, I'm sorry about it. I didn't mean to be insensitive. So I hope no one took it in the wrong sense. I'm not trying to make fun of anything like that. Extremely respect all the genders out there in the world. In fact, if you look at all the surveys that I do, I always put a third gender there also. All right. So I hope everyone is fine with it. Excuse me if anybody took it in the wrong sense. All right. So that's why, anyway, sorry about going about law of large numbers and everything. I shared the article let's get back to the point, right? So you are joining mental conversations. That is why email or messaging is more powerful than social media. In general social media stuff, All right, so a lot of people are saying, please avoid sensitive topics. I will avoid sensitive topics, guys. Cool. All right, just type cool in the chat box if it is cool. All right, fantastic. Anyway, but sometimes we have to make examples. Sometimes it happens. It's just the intention to educate. All right, so that's why email or messaging is more powerful than social media. So whenever you are posting something on social media, the messaging power is not that much because you are talking to a bunch of people, right? You agree with that? Just type agree in the chat box if you agree with that. If you are posting something on the social media, the power of communication, power of one-on-one communication is not much. So a lot of people think that email marketing will die and Facebook will take over and all that they keep saying. But email marketing is not dying. Most of you signed up for my internship program because you got an email from me. Yes, and the emails that I write are extremely personal and it's extremely connecting to people because email is a very private space. You are just getting an email. So a lot of people are saying, hey, don't get offended, don't get. I'm not offended, guys. I'm just trying to make sure that I have not offended everyone anyway. So that is why email or messaging is very important. And when you are writing articles, so first time you wrote an article, you have probably not written a sales copy, right? The first time that you wrote an article, it was the first experience probably of writing and publishing an article inside the World Wide Web. But you go ahead and when you are writing further, when you are writing articles, when you are writing all these things, you write the headline first and then you write the first sentence, and then you basically the idea is that the headline should encourage people to read the first sentence. The first sentence should encourage people to read the second sentence. The second sentence should encourage the people to read the third sentence. If in this any point, if you are losing people's attention, then if you are losing people's attention, then they are not going to continue reading the article. So the weakest sentence in the copy is the strength of the copy itself. They say that the weakest link in the chain is the strength of the entire chain. So how many of you understand that if you have a chain and if there is one weak link in the chain, that is the strength of the entire chain. It will just break at that part, like no matter how strong the other parts are. So that's how communication is. That's how copywriting is. You need to be very, very careful when crafting your communication, because if there is one weak sentence or two weak sentences in the entire copy, then the entire communication breaks, right? So if people are reading the article from top to bottom, so they are reading the first line, okay, very nice. They are reading the second line, very nice. They are reading the third line, very nice. Fourth line, you are making a mistake. You are not really capturing people's attention. Then people are going to forget about it. So how many of you here finished reading every article that you started reading online, right? Many people, they just skim through articles, right? Nobody reads the entire article, but there are some articles that you read fully. Do you read my emails fully? Sometimes. Do you read my articles fully? Yes. That is because I make sure that each and every sentence is strong. If I find a weak sentence, I either make it strong or I remove that sentence. Writing is about not writing a lot. Writing is about saying less, talking less, and saying more, right? And sometimes I can write even a 2000 word email, but nobody has complained that the email is 2000 words, because the actual content, if I write, it might be 10,000 words, and then I boil it down, boil it down, boil it down. And that is when you become like a very powerful communicator, right? And you need to use simple English. You need to have powerful copy. You need to talk to one person. You need to talk to the person, communicating to their deepest desires, passions, and all that. And that is how you kind of become very good with writing. So Surabhi Sharma is asking, did you read our blogs? Surabhi Sharma, please understand that there has been 700 people who submitted the assignments. I cannot go ahead and read all the blogs. I skimmed through it. I will probably go ahead and pick out some of the best blogs and I will post it. My team is also having a look at it. But anyway, getting back to the point, I address people by their first name. I write emails like I write to a friend. I join the conversation in their mind, and email marketing is my primary method of communication. And people, when they meet me, they feel like they know me already. And how can I write so well? So now that we have talked about who you have to be, which is that you have to be an authentic person for people to connect to you. Second stage, I talked about how you have to write, how you have to write to one person. Now we will take it to the next level. We will look at how we can focus on the center and not on the edge when it comes to customer avatar. So now we are actually going ahead and having a look at how to build your customer avatar, and I'm going to give you an exercise about it. And I'm also giving you a short break for people who want to go to the restroom and drink water. So basically, when you are defining a customer avatar, so I will define my customer avatar as my customer avatar is 25 years old. He's probably at this level of stage in the life and all those things. So this particular customer avatar is what I will write to. So what will happen is that you have a central customer avatar. So let's say your average customer, the central customer avatar, is a 25-year-old guy. You might also have 30-year-old guys, you might also have 40-year-old guys, but you are not writing your communication for the 40-year-old, 50-year-old guys. So huge respect to the people who are here, who are I have interns who are 60 years of age, 65 years of age as well. They are they are also there in my program, but I'm still writing to the people who are my target customer avatar. And I will show you how I develop my target customer avatar, right? So it will not dilute. Okay, so if you think that you have a bunch of people, if you are writing to a age group which is 20 to 30 people, then what it happens is that that's when it's get diluted, right? As I said, if you say hey everybody, then nobody is going to respond. If you say hey doctors, then somebody is going to respond. But if you call hey Deepak, then one person is going to respond. So when you're writing, when you're creating content, you just talk to the one person, and then everybody outside of that circle will still feel that they are relative to you, they are relating to you, and they would still come and go ahead and communicate to you. So I'm going to give you a 5 minutes exercise, and I'm going to share this form with you, and I'm going to ask you to fill this form. All right. So I'm going to ask you to fill this form. This is the customer avatar survey that I have developed. And this customer avatar survey, I will show you the results as well. And in the assignment that I'm giving you, you have to develop your own survey. So based on this survey, I will tell you how I develop my customer avatar, and I will show it to you live how this process happens. So I'm sharing the link in the chat box right now. So I have shared the link in the chat box right now. So go ahead and click on that link and take 5 minutes to fill it up. I will also have some water, have a restroom break. And for people who have finished it, you can also take a break until we wait for other people to finish. So go ahead and enter the answers in the customer avatar survey, and I will get back in touch with you in the next 5 minutes.
All right. I will share the link again. Hope you got the link. All right, so now let's go ahead and have a look at the results of the survey. Go ahead and refresh. All right, so we have had 661 responses so fast. And let's look at the summary. So this is how the average is, right? So I have to basically pick out the person's average. So we have the average age 25 to 34, 26%. Okay, fantastic. We have no people who I offended. It's just male and female here. Anyway, so we have people 20% from Mumbai. This is like more of an equal distribution. We have annual income, which is 33%, 1 to 2 lakhs, 29%, 6 to 10 lakhs, and 24%, 3 to 5 lakhs. All right. So, and then we have, oh, that is interesting. We have more postgraduates here than undergraduates. All right. So let me just go ahead and refresh this again. Actually, we have got 237 responses so far. All right. Earlier, I miscalculated. I thought we had 661 already, but 661 people had started, but only 252 have completed. So guys, go ahead and just complete this. I'll give you a few more minutes. And for people who have completed the exercise, just say done in the chat box. Fantastic. 318. Anyway, so people who are completing, please go ahead and continue completing the form. In the meantime, let me go ahead and look at the average age. And what I will do is that I will go ahead and make a post on the Facebook group. And let me ask this question. What percentage do you match the following? So age 25 to 34, male. So your age is 25 to 34. You are male. So I will just pick out the extremities like Mumbai, Bangalore. This is equally distributed, so I won't take that. Your annual income is, let's say 1 to 5 lakhs. We have 11 people here who make more than 25 lakhs a year. Nice, guys. Nice to see that. 15 to 25 lakhs people, 25 lakhs, 18 people, 11 to 15 lakhs, 21 people. So you guys should definitely give us wealth tips on the group for others. You are a postgraduate. All right. So you are an undergraduate. So this is equally distributed. I will not really go into it. What kind of student were you? You were an average student. So let's say you were an average student at school. So I was an average student at school, not like a topper or anything. I was a backbencher. So married and single is kind of equally distributed. So I will leave that. You don't have pets. You are an introvert, ambivert, equally distributed. I will leave that. So you are in a job or looking for a job. You are not an entrepreneur or a freelancer. So you are in a job or looking for a job. So I can create separate customer avatars for entrepreneurs, for students, and for other people as well. So I can create separate customer avatars for each of this as well. But I'm just giving you an example. So you use Windows and you use Android. So batch 2 may we had a different result here. You don't own a car. You don't own a car. You use Windows laptop. You use Android phone. So again, this is like a general customer avatar, but I will be doing like a specific customer avatar for students, entrepreneurs, and freelancers as well, which is very important in understanding different communication patterns. So now I will go ahead and make this post. And what you have to do is that you have to tell me what percentage you are matching exactly. And in the meantime, let's check out how much responses we have. 586 people completed. Thanks, guys. So let me go ahead and share this link with you. And go ahead and put it there. So here I'm also asking like a lot of open-ended questions as well, right? So go ahead and answer what percentage you match exactly. If it is 7%, say 7, I mean, is 10%, 50%, go ahead and put an approximate number. So Sagar is asking, how do you make such a customer avatar like real estate? You need to have a community, right? You need to have a community within which you are, sharing that thing. So now you see a lot of people saying 20%, 60%, 70%, 10%, 15%. So Yogesh is saying 100%. I will open his profile. Adarsh is saying 90%. I will open his profile also. Vijay P. Yadav is saying 100%. I will open his profile. All right, so you got the idea, right? So basically, I will go ahead and look at Yogesh's profile. So Yogesh, can I feature your profile? Type yes in the chat box if you are okay with me featuring your profile. All right, I hope he's okay. Is public. So basically what I am planning to do here is that I am going to look at Yogesh's profile because Yogesh said it is 100% matching with my audience, right? So he lives in Ahmedabad. He joined FB on 2012. He studied mechanical engineering. By the way, how many, I should have asked that, how many of you are engineers? I think that's one targeting thing. Like I'm also a civil engineer. Pretty much everybody in India is an engineer. That's the biggest scam of all time, guys. Whoever did engineering and actually used that engineering knowledge, very few people. I'm a civil engineer and I should have joined computer science or IT. I joined civil engineering, did not get a civil engineering job, and there were hardly any girls in my class. Civil engineers and mechanical engineers. Civil engineers will have some few girls in the class. Mechanical engineers will have 0 girls in the class. So 4 years wasted. All right. So anyway, so I will look at Yogesh ka profile, and I will look at what he is interested in, how his profile pictures. Basically having a look at his understanding Yogesh better, right? And I will also go ahead and look at his post that he has made. He is interested into digital marketing. He has been sharing digital marketing articles. So your results are your certification. So don't focus on certificates. So he has some quotes as well. And basically, going through all his wall. So he has written about Digital Deepak internship program. So thank you, Yogesh. So I'll just say thank you here. So basically, I kind of get a deeper understanding about Yogesh. I can also go and call Yogesh and have a conversation with him. In fact, I can. Yogesh, are you there? Type yes in the chat box if you are there. All right. So I don't see Yogesh saying yes in the chat box yet. Maybe he is busy. So I see Adarsh who had said 90%. Hey Adarsh, are you here? So Atit Barot is Yogesh? Is Atit Barot Yogesh or Adarsh? So Adarsh Balikai, Agesh Lagamwar. This is Adarsh. All right. So Adarsh, so basically I'm looking at your profile and all right. So only two pictures. And anyway, I can go ahead and have a look at his profile. I can understand what he is. He's interested in doing certifications. He's sharing a bunch of stuff. But I can also get a better understanding about others by talking to others. So others, I'm going to unmute you, and you can talk to me because you are my customer avatar. So others, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey others, how are you?
Hi, sir. Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
Fantastic.
Thank you for featuring my profile.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm more active on Instagram
Okay.
and not much on Facebook.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So now basically so I'm just going to ask you a few general questions. So Adarsh, what do you want to become 5 years later?
5 years later, I haven't much thought about it, but I definitely want to, have a good, strong personal brand so that if I want to sell something to a person, I can, do that easily. Yeah. So I want to build a strong personal brand into digital marketing, first of all.
So, and which city are you from, Adarsh?
I'm from a tier 2 city, Belgaum, Karnataka.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to Belgaum once.
Okay.
And let me ask you this. So what is your biggest fear when it comes to your career?
Sometimes I feel like, I'm a kind of lazy person. So sometimes I feel like, I might give up, after a certain age. If I don't find more money into this, I might. Sometimes I feel that have that fear.
Okay, so what is your what do you want to achieve in life, and what is very important for you? Like is gaining a good social status important for you in terms of financial freedom? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So currently, I'm a 20-year-old guy. So financial freedom is my priority. So unless I attain financial freedom, I'm not talking about social security or some publicity or anything like that. I want financial freedom basically, and be an entrepreneur. I would not very much like to work under someone, and work on my own goals basically. Yeah.
Fantastic. So anyway, thanks for coming live, and you can mute yourself now, and I will continue the session. All right. So guys, basically what we did here was that we kind of had a conversation with Adarsh, and I kind of asked him questions about what do you want to do, and he said that he wants to become an entrepreneur. He's 20 now, and when he becomes older, he wants to become an entrepreneur. He wants to build a personal brand in the digital marketing space. And what's his biggest fear? Its fear is that at some point he will give up on his career journey, right? So basically, this is one area. So I have to talk to a few more people who are matching my customer avatar and kind of get a better understanding. So this is definitely one area. See, a lot of people are saying yes, and a lot of people are having kind of a fear, but a lot of people are saying yes. So now I got an article right idea for my blog. how do you make sure that you don't give up? And do you think that if I write an article on my blog, send it to my email list about how do you make sure you don't give up? Do you think that it's going to work, right? And I think a lot of people here might be interested in learning about it, right? So this is how I come up with ideas for my blog post, guys. This is how I make sure that my communication strikes a chord. And a lot of people are saying that, hey, you have a large community, you are getting all these answers, but I don't. See, I get a lot of accuracy in my answers because I have a large community. But when I started, I had a like this entire Learn Digital Marketing group was some 300, 400 people at some point in time. And whatever I have done, the first course that I launched, I asked on the group, like, what do you want to learn? A lot of people said that they want to learn Google Ads. And that's how I got the idea of creating the Google Ads course, which was the first course. So this is how I connect with the audience. And this is how I make sure that, I write to one person. So next time, so probably this week, I will go ahead and write an article about how to make sure you don't, give up on your career. And I'm going to keep Adarsh in mind. 20-year-old guy who wants to become an entrepreneur, wants to build a personal brand, and he is afraid that he will give up, right? So I'm going to have Adarsh in mind. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of Adarsh, put it in front of my computer, and while writing an email, I'm going to look at him. I know this is very deep, creepy stuff, but this is how you become like an awesome marketer. What do you think about this? What do you think about the exercise that we have done? So, so this is how, see, this might look freaky. This might look creepy. You might think that, do you really need to go this deep when you're just writing an article? Can't you just write and people will respond? No. Becoming a great marketer means that you have to go to a level of depth where it is not normal, right? It's not normal. And by the way, I do this a lot. Surabhi is asking, no, feel blessed, man. No, Surabhi, I also, so I have done extensive customer avatar research. What I have shown here is just an example. So what I have basically done is that I have one customer avatar for female who is an entrepreneur. I have one customer avatar for a female who is a student. I have one customer avatar for a female who is a professional. I have one customer avatar for a male who is an entrepreneur, male who is a professional, male who is a student. And then when I write different types of articles, like for example, what is the biggest challenge that females have when it comes to build personal branding? Females have a little bit more hesitation when it comes to build personal branding than men, because females are afraid to go ahead and put themselves out there in the internet, because the internet sometimes can be a creepy place, right? So I also write articles for that customer avatar, right? So I have all these customer avatars in mind, and I make sure that each and every different article kind of covers a different customer avatar. But imagine that if I am writing an article about how to not to give up on your career, it is going to be more relevant to a 20-year-old Adarsh than a 35-year-old Yogesh. All right. So when you are having these customer avatars, you also have to give a name for these customer avatars. So for me, my customer avatar in the previous batch was this guy called Saurabh. And I always wrote to Saurabh, and I always talk to Saurabh, right? And here, when I talk to these people, I would say that, hey, I'm not talking to people, I'm talking to Yogesh. So he is a customer avatar. I'm talking to Yogesh on my email list. That is the level of depth that I go to when I talk about customer avatars, right? So I hope this gave you like an aha moment. Just type aha if kind of there was like an aha moment for you, doing this entire exercise. So when you start out with the entire exercise, you might not have much of data, right? You might not have that much of data. You will still have some data. So you can ask someone else in the internship group to fill a form. So this is just for you to go ahead and learn, right? Tomorrow you might have to build a tribe. You might have to kind of build a big tribe, and then eventually you can refine it. You can start with some basic data. Even if you go ahead and have 10 people who are filling the form, then you are going to have enough information to go ahead and try to focus on focus, like your communication will definitely be better even if you have 10 people fill up your form. All right, so that's that. Again, so we are now coming to the end of this lesson. We will complete this lesson by 10:30, and so one more few more things that I want to share with you before we end this particular class. Awkwardness is an indicator of learning, right? Or awkwardness is the indicator of changing your belief systems. If on some moment you felt a little bit of discomfort in learning what you are learning today, it means that it is challenging existing assumptions. So I would say that, let's say you have always traveled on a particular route to go to a particular place, and then someone says that, hey, there is a better route and a shorter route. The first time you are going in that better route and shorter route, you are still going in a new road, right? You are always going to feel comfortable going on the same old road than the new road. The first time you go on the new road, you will feel a little bit of a discomfort. You don't know the place, you don't know where to take left, you don't know where to take right, but you are going on a new road, which feels a little bit discomfortable. Type true in the chat box if you feel that it is true. But however, if you have to find out this new route, which is shorter and better, you have to go through the discomfort, right? There is going to be a feeling of awkwardness with the entire thing. So when you are learning something new, it'll always going to feel awkward. When you are doing something new, it is going to feel awkward. This class might feel awkward. If you go ahead and do this assignment, it will feel awkward. But awkwardness is an indicator of learning. Get comfortable with awkwardness. Every day I go ahead and put myself in an awkward situation where I'm learning something new, right? So there are people who eventually start enjoying new paths, enjoying new roads. So it's called path dependence. You have always done something and you are always trying to do it the same way. You have to try to break that pattern. Eventually you will start enjoying breaking that pattern. And I am also breaking patterns in my business every day. I'm breaking patterns with my fitness every day. I'm trying new things. I'm trying a new kind of workout. I'm trying a new language. I'm traveling to a new place. I'm making new friends. And as I said, this all kind of increases your experience as a marketer, right? So challenges what you already know and creates new beliefs and new way of thinking. So it basically creates new path in your brain, right? So new path in your neural network. So new path in your neural network is what you need, right? So this is something that you have to remember. I will give you a customer avatar template. So a lot of people here were asking, hey, how do I go ahead and create a template? So here in this template, I have given all these different questions. So I will show that to you. So you have to go ahead and create a Google Doc form, and that will be your customer avatar form. And you have to create a form, and you need to get at least 3 to 5 3 entries, at least minimum 3 entries in the customer avatar form. If you don't even get 3 entries, then your assignment will not be approved. And you can change the questions. Try to ask as many questions as possible. So these are all the different questions that I have included, and this is the form that I have. And you don't need to ask all the 25 questions like I have asked. You can go ahead and ask a minimal set of questions. At least ask 10 questions, right? And this I will share with you on the chat box. Go ahead and bookmark that. So that is what you need for the customer avatar template. You take that and create a customer avatar form. You create that customer avatar form in Google Form. Right, so you can post it. You can see. I'm asking you to just get 3 minimum entries, right? Go ahead and ask your friends. Go ahead and tell your friends that, hey, I'm doing this assignment. Go ahead and fill the form. Put it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn, and you can mention that this customer avatar form is part of Digital Deepak internship. And go ahead and put it on LinkedIn. Go ahead, put it wherever you want. So I was thinking whether I can create a template for this form itself. But then I thought that, I will just give you this doc. You go and create the form yourself. I want you to go through that experience, and I will share it on. I will share the form on email as well. I think a lot of people are unable to open it. Let me see if I can open it. I think there is too much traffic on it. It's not opening for me also. I think, so batch 2 people have given the name for the intern group. They call it DD Army. I think we can call the same for this also. So batch 3 is DD Army. So just type hashtag DD Army. If you think that this is the group name that we are going to have. All right. So Digital Deepak Army, and DD Army is so powerful that even Google is not able to manage the traffic. All right, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an alumni network of all the people who have graduated from my internship program. So you can connect with the interns from batch 1, you can connect with the interns from batch 2, and we are all going to have a separate group where all the alumni of Digital Deepak is going to be there. So this is going to be a huge community, and we are going to have calls from time to time. We are also going to have opportunity for you to present your things to other people. All right, so that's DDR me for you guys. So getting back to this, so I will send it to you on email as well. It will be available in your login as well. So what is the assignment? Right. So similar kind of assignment like we did in the last assignment. Write 500 to 1,000 words on what you have learned today. But you also have to go ahead and create a customer avatar. So based on the survey that you have done, you go ahead and tell that, hey, this is my customer avatar. So if you want examples, you can go to Google and search for Digital Deepak internship customer avatar. So I will show you. So if I it can be more than 1,000 words also. More than 500 words, right? You can use SurveyMonkey, you can use Typeform free account, you can use Google Form, anything. So if you go ahead and search for Digital Deepak customer avatar on Google, you will be able to see that a lot of people have published their customer avatar, and this is from previous batches, and so this is how they have done. They have written about what they learned in the entire thing, but you also have to go ahead and publish a customer avatar. All right, so here is, let me check. So here you can see this is his customer avatar. Ravi Kumar, age 32, who works in a BPO firm, lives in Visakhapatnam. He is not insured and looking for an agent for best insurance plans. BBS Prasad is age 30, who is a software engineer. So he has created 2 customer avatars. So customer avatar is demographic age 20 to 40. You can also put a picture for your customer avatar. All right. So let's go back. DD internship class 2, who is your customer avatar. There are plenty of examples. Try to get the best example as possible. So basically you have to write 500 to 1,000 or more than 1,000 words on what you learned in today's class. And you have to go ahead and create a customer avatar like this. So here you can see my ideal customer avatar's name is Jade, age, gender, location. So who is your target market? Who you are targeting with your entire, niche, right? So you can make it according to your niche, and I will also explain how you can select your niche in further classes. So now I will also kind of give you a crisp video of this entire assignment. Apart from giving a recording of this call, I will also give you a crisp video for this entire assignment. And so I hope you understood. So Vansh Sethi is saying, I'm here to learn digital marketing stuff, not to understand general stuff. So by the way, I would like to tell you everyone that only the first and the second class is going to have generic, abstract and deep stuff, because this is where we are getting started. As we are going to go ahead and go to further classes, it will be exact pure digital marketing stuff like SEO, automation, Google ads, Facebook ads, everything. This kind of depth is going to be there only for the first 2 classes. So don't worry about it. So probably third class, maybe we are talking about sales. So usme thoda hoga. But it's not every class that we are going to talk about generic stuff. We are going to actually get into proper technical stuff in the further classes. We have 5 more classes, right? So I hope you feel that this is good and important, and hope this was good. All right. So let's look at what else. So copy the customer avatar template, create a form on Google Forms, get at least 2 people to fill the form. If not, do the research yourself and come up with the customer avatar. But I would say at least get 3 people to fill the form. You can ask your friends. You can ask people. So let it be. Speak to at least 2 potential customers to understand the challenges, right? And we are going to ask in the form, what did you understand by speaking to the customer? So today I showed you how to, how do you speak with your customer? Basically like a 5-minute conversation, right? I had a conversation with Adarsh and I understood what is his, desires, aspirations, and I kind of got a better idea about, who he is, right? So you publish your customer avatar along with the learning article, and that's about it. So that's about it for today's class. I hope you understood the assignment. Type yes in the chat box if you understood the assignment. Fantastic. Amazing, guys. Some people are saying, no, I did not understand the assignment. Guys, you can go and ask on the group with other people. And you have, I don't know why you are saying you don't understand the assignment. Come on, I have explained it very well. You have to go ahead and write an article about what you learned today, just like the previous assignment. And then you go ahead and create a customer avatar. All right. So there will be other people in the group who will help you, definitely. In terms of assignment submission, I will let you know. I need to upload the second lesson, and same thing. I will show you in the crisp video on how to create the assignment, and I will also have a Q&A session for this. In the Q&A session, which will be done by my team. If you have any questions